And we're live.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Dublin in Darkness. Dr. Alcazar Karim finds himself asleep, dreaming of something pleasant. He's not exactly sure what the context of the dream was. Then again, that doesn't really matter at this point, as he's very rudely awoken by the buzzing of his cell phone from the from his bedside locker. Bzz, bzz,
He'll snap out of it, reach over, grab the phone. In the name of Allah, somebody better be dead.
Good morning, Doctor. As a matter of fact, that's the reason we're calling you. This is you might want to get your clothes on. We're having a car sent round to you. Having a car sent around to you in a few moments' time. We may have another smiling Jack murder victim we'd like you to have a look at.
Wonderful. Very well. I will be downstairs shortly. And he's going to hang up the phone. He's going to get in the shower. He's not going to take a horse bath, but he's going to take a really quick shower. Get dressed, basically button down Oxford shirt, tie, sports coat, slacks to match the sports coat. And he's going to grab his ID and his wallet and his phone, obviously, and his watch, and he's going to head downstairs. He doesn't have a car. He was renting a car. He hasn't put in the effort to buy a car here in Dublin, so
that's fair. Downstairs, you will see a town car, outside of which there's a uniformed member of the police service standing with an umbrella. For the record, it's been raining non-stop for the last 2 to 3 weeks.
From the Dartmouth is on the Atlantic coast, particularly the northern Atlantic coast, so he's not exactly shy of rain.
That's fair.
The
police officer will will look you up and down as you come out, and she'll say, "Are you Dr. Karim?"
He'll nod his head. And you're new. How may I help you, my escort?
Yes, I'm your escort, sir. She'll calmly open the back door of the town car and she'll say, "Do you need us to go and collect any of your accoutrements or work at tools, or do you have them all?"
I never carry my accoutrement with me, so we'll need to stop by the lab.
That's fine. She will, as you settle yourself in the back seat of the car, she will close the door, and she will then sit in the front driver's seat. She'll then sit in the front seat she will then sit in the front driver's seat before she pulls out into the torrential rain.
He's just going to tap his chin lightly and say, "Perhaps I should start bringing my kit with me."
We have the entire area where the body was found sealed down, sir, so you'll be able to collect your equipment, and then I can take you to the site myself, and nothing should have been touched, etc. They're waiting for your arrival.
Thank you. He's going to call the lab. I'm sure I've got some rando intern.
Rando intern. You know what? His name will be Peterson. Peterson will pick up the phone. Oh, God. What? Yes, I was awake. I was awake. You can't say that I wasn't.
Peterson, I need you to grab my forensics kit. I'm going to need also a pair of I'm going to need at least 3 pair of latex gloves with it as well. Make sure that you let the lab know that I will be sending samples from the crime scene. Once I get them set up, they'll be coming through the Ireland Police Service. And get the platform ready. I'm going to be bringing in a body.
Right here. Okay. I'll have that ready. I'll leave your stuff at reception so you can just grab it, and I'll have the others prepped and ready for when the body arrives.
Very good. I'll be there shortly. Thank you.
Okay. You will basically be taken to the central the Department for Criminal Investigation, which exists in Dublin. At which point you will enter, retrieve your bag, which will have been left for you at reception with all of your various different tools.
It's probably going to be a big ass duffel bag. So, yeah.
Yes, that's fair. Before you were driven through the center of the city, it is very late at night. You think it's maybe about 4 o'clock in the morning or so. You were brought through the inner city center down by the River Liffey. The traffic is incredibly sparse at this time of evening until you are driven through a large set of gates into the Phoenix Park, a park in the center of Dublin. It's essentially Dublin's version of Central Park. It is large. It is incredibly well maintained. There is a zoo that is located within its confines. The presidential mansion is located within its confines. There's also a herd of deer. Random fact: there is a legitimate herd of deer that live there.
Oh,
Yeah.
better not hit one.
Beg your pardon?
So better not hit one. Those town cars, if they're going fast enough, they could explode a deer, and it's not pleasant.
Ugh.
I mean,
You see, however,
it's a Ford, large size sedan. It's basically steel. So
that's fair. You see a police cordon has been set up. You see police are pacing around it. They've got spotlights that they've set up so that there's light being shone all over the place because it's not yet dawn. The town car itself will come to a stop just outside the police cordon. As your attaché will turn and she'll say, "One moment, sir. I'll inform them that you're here."
all right. While we're doing that, I'm going to take off the sport coat, set it neatly on one of the little hangers on the side of the door. I'm going to open up my kit and I'm going to pull out my quote unquote encounter suit. It's basically a coverall that is easily broken downable, but it doesn't. And nothing really sticks to it unless it's like blood or something. So no chance of contaminating the crime scene with it. Put those on. Then I'm going to put the galoshes on over my shoe. Actually, I'll take the shoes off, put them in there, and pull the galoshes on, and then I'll finish up by grabbing the rest of my kit out and wait for them to let me know when I can go in.
Okay. She'll return about 5 minutes later, and she'll open your door, holding up the perfunctory umbrella again, so you don't get wet. And she says, "Captain O'Sullivan will see you, sir. He's in the main tent."
Alistair will nod and head into the main tent.
Okay. The main tent has been set up. You can tell that it's kind of been used as a pseudo on-the-spot command center. You see that there's it's literally just been set up to shield the brass from the elements, as you see two lieutenants and the captain standing there having a hushed conversation. Captain O'Sullivan is a man in his kind of mid to late 50s. He has many wrinkle lines, worry lines, a receding grey hairline. As he looks up at you and he says, "Ah, Doctor, so good to see you again."
I wish it were under better circumstances, Captain O'Sullivan. Tell me what we have.
Very well. He'll dismiss the lieutenants and he'll say, "If you wouldn't mind coming with me, please."
He'll nod and he'll pull out a pair of latex gloves and what looks like one of those surgical masks out of his kit. He'll then offer a pair to the captain as well, in case he wants to touch anything.
The captain won't. They will decline. He doesn't particularly want to touch anything.
He'll offer him a mask then, in case he doesn't want to breathe in anything nasty.
That's fair. He will take the mask. You will be offered a. Basically, he will lead you from the tent into an adjoining tent. At which point you will see a. How do I best describe it? You will see a woman laying face down in the dirt. Laying face up in the dirt, almost in with her arms crossed across her chest, almost in the very kind of burial style manner. The two immediate things that will jump out at you on a very perfunctory just glance is one, her left hand lip, from her left hand lip all the way up to her ear has been slit. And it's caused, and the skin has been pulled back to make it look like a grotesque, half-smiling face, which is the signature of what has become known as the Jack Half-a-Smile killings.
Mm-hmm.
And also, looking down, you see her hands have been laid across her chest. Well, rather, one of her hands has, because the other one is missing from the wrist. Her left hand is missing from the wrist down. And he'll say, "It was encountered this morning by some poor schmuck running his dog late at night. So this is what we have for you, Doctor.
This is why people need to stop jogging. They keep finding dead bodies. Scars them for life. And he's going to kneel down next to it, and he's going to pull out. First thing he's going to do is he's going to lightly lift the severed hand wrist, and
Okay.
he's going to pull out a little thing like this that you flip out, and it's got different magnifying intensities on it. And he's going to start investigating. Basically, he's looking for kerf marks. Anything that could show the type of, if there was a struggle with the hand being cut off, if it was used with something precise, if it was used with something like a torch, if it was a chainsaw, that sort of thing.
The first thing that immediately jumps out at you is the fact that this was done post-mortem.
Okay.
The blood had already stopped to flow when the hand was removed. You can tell that by the blood pooling, by the amount of blood that was pooling underneath the severed limb. Also, this was done with exact and surgical precision. It was done incredibly slowly and with incredible amounts of care taken. So, for example, they didn't actually cut the joint. They removed just below the joint of the wrist, making sure that none of the bones were damaged in the process, whoever they may have been. That's what you get from the hand stuff.
Can I tell exactly how long after death before the hand was removed?
Minutes. She was dead, but not dead very long, based on the coagulation of the blood that you can see visible, as I say, with the pooling underneath the arm.
Okay. They didn't wait long. Oh, sorry, what?
I just pointed out it was done very rapidly after death.
Yeah. They didn't wait long to remove the hand. As you can see by the severing of the tendons here, the severing of the cartilage here, and the overall smoothness of the cleaving, it was a surgical maneuver. It was done with a scalpel. Whoever did this has some skill as an orthopedic surgeon, or else just miraculous attention to detail. Now, he's going to move his hands up to the. He's going to move up with his magnifying glass to the. Well, his glass is up to the half smile, and he's going to look for signs of discoloration due to blood flow.
Okay. Once again, important note, the smile was also carved into her face post-mortem.
Okay.
This was something that was done, you would say, roughly around the same time as the hand's removal. For the record, it is not hard for you to identify cause of death. There is a single puncture wound directly over the heart that was done with some kind of small knife, perhaps a stiletto style, that punctured directly through the heart. It was not long or left. It was not a deep enough cut to puncture her back as well, so it didn't exsanguinate her that way. But death would have been nearly instantaneous.
Okay. After I'm done looking at that, I'm gonna pull out it's a little vial about this big, about this wide, and it's got a solution in it and a cotton swab. So I'm going to pull the vial out with the topper, and I'm going to swab the hole in her chest. Then I'm going to stick it back in the vial, shake it, and is there a evidence collector nearby?
Yes.
I'm going to motion for him to come over, and I'm going to put it in a little baggie. I'll say, make sure that gets to the lab.
Yes, sir.
Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look for signs of necropathy as well as signs of insect activity. try to figure out
Okay.
how long the body's been out here.
Based on the necrosis that you can see in the various wounds, and based on the complete lack of insect activity, you can assume that the body was maybe it was killed at some point within the last. You would say it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. It was killed within the last 6 to 7 hours,
He'll
and it has. You can also tell coincidentally as you look around and as you check the area that they've sealed off. And based on the pooling of blood and whatever else have you, that they were killed here. The
okay.
body has not been moved from its place of death.
Is there any sign of predation?
Define predation.
Bits of flesh missing, bits of hair missing, birds collecting the hair, mice nibbling on the corpse, squirrels, wolves, coyotes, deer, anything that would have come up and disturbed the body.
No.
Okay. He's going to look over to the captain and say, "She was killed here. This wasn't a body dump. This was an intentional bring her out here and kill her in this manner." He's going to look to the evidence. Actually, is there a mortuary scientist nearby or a medical examiner?
There will be there will be the forensic examiner. Yes, she's standing at one side of the room, letting you do your job, as she's probably already done hers.
All right. He's going to call the examiner over and say, "We need to get this to the lab at the university and start doing a full autopsy."
She'll nod and she'll say, "I've made my report and it's been lodged. So in that case, I could sign the body over to you. If you don't mind, I'll just go and do the paperwork and give you that in a few moments."
He'll nod his head. And then he's going to look over at... He's going to look up to the captain. "Who is your man on the scene?"
When you say man on the scene, what do you mean exactly? Sorry, my apologies.
Man on the scene is the officer that arrives first to investigate it, and as well as to cordon it off and call in the forensics, the medical examiner, his brass, etc.
Well, when we got the call, it was Tenson and Williams who responded first. I can have them sent in if you'd like.
I just make sure that copies of their initial report are sent to my office.
Very good, sir.
And
very good, Doctor.
He'll stand up and he will look to the the forensic examiner's assistants, probably the ones that did most of the work to begin with, and say, "Bag it, send it to the platform at my lab. I'll continue my investigation there, see if I can find any markers as to who this person was and why this happened."
As you're walking back out with the captain, he'll say, "Every single Smiling Jack victim, he takes something. It's different every time. This is his 11th victim in all. So far, we've had livers, kidneys, we've had toes, we've had eyes, we've had this, that, and the other. Why do you think he's taking them?" Ordinarily, I can understand trophies, but wouldn't it generally be a single type of trophy as opposed to this random mix match?
Not necessarily. There are some serial killers that find it a thrill to change their pattern every once in a while. Not that they've changed how they've killed the individual, but what they've taken afterwards. And I hesitate to bring this up, they could be building something.
That's deeply disturbing.
Have you ever heard of the Gormagon case in the United States?
No.
Dreadful.
Can't say that I have.
Dreadful piece of work. Having to do with a skeleton made entirely out of silver, and that the serial killer would replace the silver parts of the skeleton with the pieces that he took from his victims.
That is disturbing.
In this line of work, you never know what you find. By the way, I've really should have mentioned this character's probably in his early 30s, maybe late 20s. He'll stand up, he'll pull the gloves off, and he will take the mask down and say, were you able to find any tire tracks, any sign of conveyance, any idea how this person got out here, even signs of a struggle from her being here? Or was she... He's going to actually call over the medical examiner crew.
Puddle.
He will give a sigh and say, when you get to my lab, make sure they drain the body of all fluids. And then begin examining it through a mass spectrometer.
Yes, sir. We'll see to that, sir.
Thank you. And I'll turn back to the...
No, we weren't able to ascertain any tire tracks or other modes of conveyance. As I say, we've just been left the body as if it fell from heaven.
Allah does not deposit those he takes.
By the way, Brett, as you get towards the car, he tells you that he'll have someone drive you home, but he just has to... the attaché's gone off duty, so he'll just have to find somebody else to drive you home. He says it'll be about 10 to 15 minutes. Just to please wait in the car. You see... Hang on, I just have to get my favorite photo. Yeah. Just without the knives. You see this individual physically sitting on top of the car with their head down, but no one seems to be acknowledging the fact they're there.
He will walk over to the car, stand about 4 paces to the left of them, and say, "This wasn't you, was it?"
They shake their head. No. If I had wished to end someone's life, inshallah, I would have not done so in such a public or verbose manner.
'Tis what I thought. What does the council need of me?
She'll look up. You can see her eyes. That's about it. The rest is hidden behind a lower. Is hidden behind wrappings that wrap around her face, just under her nose. As she says, "We are contemplative. Many things are moving, and we don't understand why they are moving. So it is that we must look to you, because you are, how would we say, the eyes that we possess."
He'll nod his head.
She contemplates. Oh, sorry, continue.
There is a very real possibility that this is a scientific matter in the most heinous form of it. This was done with a surgeon's skill. I still have to investigate the other bodies that hopefully haven't been contaminated from sitting around or improper storage, but I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Indeed, we are most disconcerted. If you've also something we have been noticing, we are not sure if they are inherently linked yet, but we may soon see the connection. Have you noticed the weather and its recent inclemency?
It is quite odd that the shifting of the weather patterns hasn't caused at least one sunny day or even breezy day. It's just been pure downpour. I'm sure
what we have been able to ascertain, this is not natural. Someone is influencing the weather.
I suppose I'll probably need to speak to other members of the Alliance to figure out what they've discovered so soon.
There's a slight nod as she says, "As I have said, Hashen." For the record, Hashen means young one or one who can see clearly.
Mm-hmm.
We are not exactly sure if these are linked, but in the event that they are, the causality must be discovered.
There is no true coincidence. It's all a matter of quantum entanglement.
Here's a very slow nod. And she says, very good. In the event that you are able to ascertain more, you know how to contact us.
Of course.
She stands up.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say she stands up.
Since I don't actually know how to say the words, he will simply give a traditional Islamic Ali Batin farewell.
She will look down at you and she will say, leave no footprints. And leave no footprints, only whispers. Before she basically, she hops down behind the car and is gone.
At this point, while he's still waiting, Kareem's going to open up the door to the car, is going to take off the coveralls and the galoshes and put his jacket and his shoes back on. Then fold them all back up very neatly and put them back into the duffel, followed by his investigative case. And then he's going to look and try to figure out where exactly the medical examiner is to sign over the body to his laboratory.
She will walk over a few moments later with a clipboard. For the record, her name is Mary. Her name is Mary O'Keefe. Dr. Mary O'Keefe. She will have signed over all relevant pretendences in regard to the body to your offices.
You will sign it over. It's a pleasure working with you, Doctor.
And you, Doctor. Though, frankly, I'm glad that I can now get out of this godforsaken rain.
Allah being willing, He will cause the rain to cease when He chooses.
There's a nod. She will then proceed to pad back towards the police court. Your driver will arrive about 5 minutes later. It's a young man, probably say in his early 20s. He'll say, "Where would you like me to take you, sir?"
Well, I'm not going to go back to sleep anytime soon. Take me to the lab.
Yes, sir.
University of Dublin, Anthropology Division. I believe you know the way.
As you say, sir. He will proceed to ignite the car's ignition and will drive you back to university. It will take about 30 minutes or so.
Okay. Well, on the way back, I'm going to start compiling notes. And I'm going to send over I'm going to call the lab again.
Okay. Once again, the phone will pick up. I was not sleeping!
Every time you say that, when you pick up the phone, makes me believe you're sleeping.
Damn it!
I need all of the Jack of the Half Smile murder victims, any that haven't been stripped and buried, need to have their remains brought to the lab for further analysis. Wake up a pharmacology expert and have him meet us in the lab as soon as I get there.
Rightio, sir. From what I can see in our databases, all but 4 of the Jack victims have been buried, so I can probably get you those 4 if you'd like.
It'll have to do for a start. See if you can get any case notes as well from the previous forensic investigator who is handling the case. Hopefully they're up to my standards.
As you say, sir.
I'll be there within...
I'm not going to be able to have the bodies transferred to you until at least the morning. There's no way we're going to be able to get them out of the morgue and cold press.
That's fine. We've got one to investigate that's on its way there now. I'll be there in 30 minutes.
Okie dokie then.
Oh, hang up.
Okay. As you drive, it will be a relatively uneventful sojourn until you arrive at the university, in which case the driver will open the door for you.
I'll get out, carry my equipment bag, and head inside. Actually, I'll turn and I'll say, "What's your name?"
My name's Hotchkiss, sir.
Thank you very much, Hotchkiss. Have a pleasant morning.
Thank you, sir. You will proceed to enter the lab. You'll have to swipe your security code at least once.
Of course.
The body will arrive probably about an hour or so after you do. They had to get it properly stowed for transport, etc. But when it arrives, it is placed on the slab, as it were.
All right. I'm going to have the lab techs set it up for exsanguination, and then I'm going to call over the pharmacology experts. I'm going to hand over the sample from the swabbed wound. I'm saying put this through the mass spec as well, see if there's any evidence of what was used to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to start doing a full examination of the body, and once he's got all he can from stomach contents, from blood gas analysis, mass spectrometer, more swabbings of the wounds to see if there's any metal particulates, he's going to have the flesh stripped, and then he's going to start examining the bones.
Awesome.
It's going to be a long procedure, so we can just stop now, and then you can tell me what comes up later on.
That's fair. As I said, post me some questions that you particularly want answered in your blue booking, and
Okay.
I will get to that in your blue booking.
Sounds good. I can work on that in a bit. So, okay. Are we good to stop?
Yeah, I think that should be all. Thank you, player, for playing. If you ever have any watchers, thank you, watchers, if you ever watch.
We actually have one watcher in the beginning, so yay.
This has been a scene for Darkness in Dublin. We hope you have a good, pleasant day.